Welcome to the daily broadcast. This is not going to be a very long episode. This is, in fact, the final episode of this season. Season 2 has been a whirlwind of transition, of change, of witness, of selflessness. It's been an interesting ride, guys, but it is time to come to a close. So I hope you're having a great day, morning, evening, afternoon, midnight, wherever you are, wherever this is meeting and greeting you. Hope that you are in high spirits. And if you have any requests for the next season, or if you'd like to be a feature, please hit me up on Instagram at Agent K21 or at Agent K21 Podcast. Now, I mentioned I was going to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it briefly. It's so in-depth and it's so nuanced and layered, but this has been an interesting year. And with 9 being a highly karmic number, I wanted to talk about this year being the close of a karmic cycle, the final cycle ending, and a new one to begin. And this decade is closing out, and the spiritual door is closing, and there's already a shift happening. Some of you are experiencing it, some of you are feeling it, have been for a while. There is a shift happening, and there's going to be a karmic divide where this door, I can see it narrowing out, and everything that's on one side is going to remain, and everything that's on the other side is going to remain. So if you left your jacket, don't go back to get it. If you left your wallet, keep going, get a new one. But this divide is not anything to be afraid of. It's not anything to be cautious of. It's everything that no longer serves you is going to remain on that other side of the door. And there's about to be a shift because this new cycle, this new ground that we're coming on is creating a new firm foundation. So this next decade is going to set the tone for the next 10 years. This next year is really going to lay the blueprint, the foundation for everything that's about to happen. And the way I visualize this transition happening is, visualize with me, if you will. You see yourself standing on the floor. And for those of you who have been through natural disasters, earthquakes, anything like that, this may be a little triggersome for you. So if you need to sign off here, that's perfectly fine. But visualize with me, if you will. The floor is shaking underneath you, and it starts to crumble and fall apart. And as it falls apart, you start to fall, and you don't know where you're going. You don't know where you're going to land anything. And that's kind of the phase that we're in right now, from Christmas to New Year's, is that falling phase of, well, I don't know what's happening. It's that free falling feeling. And as you're falling from what once was stable and what once held you up has crumbled, and now you're falling through the abyss. You don't know where you're going. You don't know if you're going to land. You don't know how far it's going to be. Nothing. But what you do is you land, and what you land on happens to be the ceiling of a new dimension. And that's what I see about to happen for this next decade, this next karmic cycle that we're going to enter, this next cycle that we're going to enter. Because these last 10 years had the crumble. So the floor, the foundation crumbled right underneath your feet so you could land on the ceiling of the next dimension. Now, for some of you had the exact opposite. You had built a ladder and you're trying to punch through the ceiling, and you're breaking through this ceiling. You're climbing through this ceiling, and what's happening for you is you're going to break through the ceiling. And that ceiling that you've been trying to push through is going to become the floor of the next dimension. And so everyone is on their own unique path and place in divine timing, divine ways. But either way, a cycle has ended and a new cycle is going to appear. Now, you may be living with people, you may be around people, you may be in certain environments or situations that are no longer going to resonate necessarily with who you are. And even though you're enacting with them, and even though you have to be in their presence, there's going to be a divide within you. There's going to be a divide, a separation, if you will. Even though separation is an illusion, there's going to be a no longer aligning to things that once were. And these cycles are going to start to reveal themselves, and we're going to be able to see the truth and see through all of these things. And you're going to be able to say, yeah, I've seen that and I know what that is. Or you're going to be able to say, oh, this is different. This is taking me somewhere new. And I've seen this door closing for a while. And it's going to close at different places for different people. But this karmic cycle is the final year. Everything had to happen the way it did so that it could all be closed within this 10-year book, because you can't mix in the new with the old. And so certain things had to be blocked, pushed, sustained, released before new things could arrive, before other things could show up. And so a lot of things that have happened that have been, unexplainable or out of our control has been precisely because it could not mix with this old energy that's been dismantling. So it had to happen in a way that this book, because this is not just a chapter, this is a whole book. This entire book had to close first before you can open the next book. It's like a series. You're reading a series book, and we just finished series 1 and we're moving on to the next series. But we had to finish this book before we tried to read chapter 3 in the next book, because that would just ruin the spoilers and the surprises and the beauty that awaits us on the other side. And so we have to close this chapter completely before entering into a new book, a new season. So fear not, fret not. This is a good final chapter. And for those who've had blessings, and there's always blessings and there's always beauty to be found. So remember that. Remember that what you focus on continues and shows up more. There was a post I read earlier, and it was like the algorithm of your social media and YouTube accounts, they know what to feed you based on what you watch. And they bring more of that into your experience. That's the same thing the universe is doing. So what you focus on, what you watch, what you speak, what you hang out with, it's going to bring more of that into your experience. So align your thoughts, align your heart, align your mind, and your will be done. So with that, I'm just going to say Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. I will see you guys for season 3. We will be renewed for another season at Agent K21 Podcast. I'm renewing myself. Yes. And I will definitely see you guys then. So 2020 is going to be a great year, and all the following years are going to be great. And don't worry about, I have to do this resolution right away. Don't worry about any of that. You'll get there when you get there, and just continue to move forward and release any anxiety you feel about the new year and trying to be perfect or trying to do things a certain way, or else you're going to be a failure. You're not going to be a failure. You can't fail. You can't get this wrong. There is no right or wrong path. You're on a path, and every choice you make changes that direction. And just keep going. Just keep moving forward, and you will end up right where you need to be. So go ahead and close this door, close this chapter. Don't worry about what's left on the other side. Just go ahead and close it, and get ready to open up the next door, open up the next window. And so be well, be blessed. Until next time.